leadership, and there are people in this room who will know far more about me, about the history of this part of the world, but I have read a few books, and I have listened carefully to what everyone says, and I can guarantee you one thing: the history of this conflicted part of the world doesn't mean that you can blame one side for all the ills that have taken place there over the years. Now, there's going to be a lot of pain for both sides in moving towards a two-state solution, but everyone, or mostly everyone, who's contributed to this debate today recognises that that is what's required. Those who argue for a one-state solution, and let's be honest about this, it's not just those that argue for a greater Israel, it's those who argue for a greater Palestine. I've heard people in this room say, from the river to the sea, Mr Pritchard, Palestine will be free. And we know what that means as well. So we do know that a single state cannot bring peace, since it would ultimately undermine the national goals of one or more, or one of the two competing national movements. And two states for two peoples is the only realistic hope. The deadlock and the conditions that have existed for years are not the only obstacles to peace. They guarantee with each passing year that the problem becomes more difficult to resolve. More settlers, more settlements, more refugees, more people drawn to terror, more victims, more resentment, more hate. Be assured that I condemn Israeli settlements in the West Bank. I condemn the blockade of Gaza. I believe the Israelis should end the occupation. And I believe that the lots to the right in Israeli politics makes those things more difficult but not impossible to achieve. But can I also say, Mr Pritchard, that I don't need to be prompted to say this. With the same vigour and passion and determination, I condemn Hamas, whose unrevoked 1988 charter rejects peace and promotes the killing of Jews. I condemn the use of Palestinians as cannon fodder every time Hamas decides to use their innocent people as a means of achieving their political ends. I condemn the politicians who condemn terrorism publicly and then send letters of praise to the families of those that have died in the pursuit of terrorism. And I despair about the lack of political courage on the Palestinian side of the problem, which prevents the final mile to peace being walked. And for those of you that would take... I'll give way.
Would he also like to condemn accusations that the Palestinian Authority is actually paying salaries to convicted terrorists?
Well, someone said from a sedentary position, no, it's not. It actually is, because as a member of the International Development Committee, the Palestinian Authority Finance Minister confirmed it to us at a meeting that other members were present at, and he wants to stop it because they can't afford it, and they want to spend the money in doing things which are constructive and not paying salaries on a higher scale to those who have committed the most heinous of crimes who are in prison. But I could condemn all those points, but can I make this crucial point, Mr Pritchard? For those that would take umbrage at me about questioning the Palestinian leadership's courage in moving forward, the closest that we arguably got to peace was the 2000 Camp David summit. Bill Clinton, Yasser Arafat, Ehud Barak brokered the deal which covered all of the problems: security, borders, refugees, the right of return, and, most crucially, Jerusalem. And once again, it was an Israeli Labour politician, Ehud Barak, who put his head above the parapet for peace. The deal was rejected, and this is widely accepted, was rejected by Yasser Arafat and was a precursor to the Second Intifada. In March this year, while I was visiting the OPTs with the IDC, we met the PLO negotiation team. And after talking about the desire for peace, which I absolutely accept was sincere, I said to the PLO negotiator in private, if the Clinton deal was put back on the table with 2014 prices, would you accept it? And answer came there, none. And I think that is a very interesting view from someone who is meant to desire peace. Mr Pritchard, since 1987 there's been 410 EDMs, 157 debates, 13,348 members' contributions. Yes, I will.
Barney. Breakdown of the statistics of those EDMs from either side, whether Labour or Conservative ones?
Michael. I'm afraid that my fascination with statistics didn't take me quite that far, but I'm grateful for the injury time because it allows me to finish these points, and I hope it's a point that everyone can rally around. Since 1987, we've had 410 EDMs, we've had 157 debates, 13,348 members' contributions, 63 business questions, and 2,539 oral questions. If we all back a two-state solution like we say we do, and we don't speak with forked tongue, then why don't we all get together after the end of this debate, Mr Pritchard, come together, whether it's the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign or whether it's Labour Friends of Israel, and truly pursue the end of peace together. Because if we're united and we can show that we can unify around that particular point, perhaps those people in Israel and Palestine who want that two-state solution can unite around that as well.
A pleasure to serve under your chair.